All right, well, we're here with Tim, Forestry Ranger.
Wilderness Ranger,
Wilderness Ranger?
Forestry Tech, yeah.
Okay, good deal. And you come up here about 10 days at a time out to Lac LaCroix? And
Generally about 8 days.
okay,
yep.
Good deal. And what do you do when you're out here?
We patrol, we range out from here. We'll go to Iron Lake and/or Agnes, Stewart, Oyster, up onto LaCroix.
Okay, and what are the things you're looking for when you're out?
We're clearing portages. We're maintaining campsites, checking the latrines to make sure they're deep enough. People tend to stop using the latrines when they become too full, and then that's a worse situation. So we dig new ones when we have to. But before we can do that, we generally have to have a review from an archaeologist to make sure that we're not going to be damaging an archaeological site.
Okay. What are the numbers for in the latrines? Is that so you can, do you label the campsites with the numbers, or how does that whole number system work out?
It identifies the campsite, yep.
Okay. And so when you put in, do you just move that latrine to the new hole and then call it good? Or you said you've got some extra ones here in case some go south.
Well, they get hit by trees, or we had a bad run of latrines that just started to delaminate.
Okay.
And cause problems.
Okay, fun. And so you have a patrol boat here that you manage LaCroix with a little bit?
Yeah, we have a boat in the boathouse here that we use when we start getting reports of motor violations on Lac LaCroix.
Okay. Does that happen very often, or just a couple times a summer?
Well, it's kind of an ongoing thing, although we don't patrol all that much anymore like we used to. But yeah, there's generally in any given week there'll be several violations.
Okay. And is it mostly the Canadian side coming across the water too much, or?
It's everything under the sun.
Yeah.
It's people being guided out of the resorts on the Canadian side. It's sometimes people are lost. Sometimes they're just camping down on the far end of the lake where boats are legal, and they look at the maps and they see that the fishing structure is best on the U.S. side, and they come in figuring the odds are in their favor.
Of not being caught?
Yep.
Okay. Well, we're glad you guys are out here.
Well, it's when the weather's like this, it is nice to be out here. Actually, I love it being here when it's winter or snow or rain, doesn't matter.
Okay. When you bring in most of your supplies, how do you bring them in by? You said you bring in, like when you bring in the bulk latrines and the fire grids, and how do you do that?
A lot of that comes in by dog team in the wintertime.
Okay.
Sometimes it will come in by with the patrol boat. We'll throw a few things in there, but generally most of the bulky things come in by dog team.
Okay. Do you guys have someone on staff that does that, or do you kind of find some local folks that'll be willing to take you out? How's that work?
We have a couple of people that are qualified mushers that have done a lot of mushing in the Arctic and long distance mushing that are experienced. And then we lease teams, and we have our own equipment, but we lease the dogs, and generally for a season. And the mushers get to know the dogs, and they're the ones that do our freighting. If we have a big freighting project, we'll contract with some of the local freighters as well, or some of the local mushers, and they'll do the freighting for us.
Okay.
And in the mix with our own teams.
And do they go along the same portage trails in the wintertime? And how does
there's a lot of routes that are different in the wintertime, where you might use a wetland area in the wintertime you wouldn't use in the summertime.
Right.
That would make a trip shorter. Hills are a consideration, so you try to avoid those with dog teams, things like that.
Fun. Well, good deal. Do you guys, when you come out in the wintertime, do you set up at one of these as like a base camp and then work out of here, or do you have wall tents you bring out? How does that work for camping?
Generally, depends. Like Trout Lake north of Lake Vermilion, we'll go in and obviously we'll just base camp because that's a lot of sites, and portages can be handled right from that area. But out here north of the Echo and in our area, from like basically from Voyager Park to Curtin Falls, which is the LaCroix district area, the crews will be camping and moving depending on if there's a larger project. They will they'll base camp, but during the course of the summer, if it's just regular patrol, they're camping and moving during the course of the day, clearing portages, checking permits, writing violation notices as needed.
Well, good deal. Well, thank you, Tim, for your time. I hope you have a nice time while you're out here.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.